To another issue of Eye on the Issues. Today, we're going to be talking about mining in the state of Wyoming. And who better to talk to about that? Travis Deti, the head of the Wyoming Mining Association. Travis, thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
You bet, Michael. I'm happy to be here.
So, Travis, why don't we begin at the 20,000-foot level and give us an overall picture of the mining industry in the Cowboy State?
Sure, happy to do that. So the Wyoming Mining Association, we're the state's trade association that represents the larger sectors of our mining economy in Wyoming. We represent the coal industry. We represent uranium producers, trona producers, which is natural soda ash. And then our other industrial mineral that we represent is the bentonite industry. And we also represent a couple companies that are currently exploring for rare earth elements and gold. And so we cover the kind of the gamut. Coal is our biggest mineral by far. We're the nation's leading coal producer. We've been the nation's leading coal producer since the 1980s. And, we produce about 40% of the nation's thermal coal. And, and with coal providing about still 20% of America's energy, we power America. We're the largest uranium producer in the United States. We're the largest bentonite producer in the United States, and we are the largest producer of natural soda ash, which comes from our trona deposits in Southwest Wyoming. So mining is really kind of critical, obviously, to the state of Wyoming, but to America as well. I mean, when we say we power America, we really do mean that, and it is a fact that somewhere in America, every single American is using a product from a Wyoming mine every day. So we're proud of that. And, we're a bedrock industry in the state of Wyoming. In fact, Michael, that's why the state of Wyoming is here. It's because of our unsurpassed mineral resources. And that was a key argument for statehood back in the 19th century.
That's awesome. And it is a beautiful state to go along with the minerals that it has. Let's take a look forward, if we can, at the upcoming legislative session, Travis, and tell us, what are you going to be looking at for this session?
Well, this is a budget session for the state of Wyoming legislature. Our legislature meets 2 years. They have a general session in the odd numbered years, and in the even numbered years is our budget session. It's a short session, and the legislature this year will be looking obviously at the state's biennial budget and trying to get those numbers figured out. But there's also going to be some other things that quite possibly could suck a lot of wind out of the session. That is property tax issues. We have seen a significant increase in many parts of the state in property taxes, residential property taxes for folks. And one of the things I think you have to keep in mind is that Wyoming people, we don't pay a state income tax. The bulk of our taxes and the funding for our state comes from minerals and extraction. So our residents, have a relatively low tax burden, but property taxes is one where it kind of hits them. And one of the things that I think that we've seen since the COVID pandemic, we had a lot of people move to the state from out of state and drove property values up in certain areas. And it's been a real issue for the last couple of years. So the legislature is going to spend a lot of time on that. Where we watch on that is, if you look to provide property tax relief, you're still going to have to fund your government somewhere. And so we're always a little bit leery that if you give some breaks on this end, you're going to come back to industry for more tax revenue. I'm not too concerned about that. The state of Wyoming and our legislators and our governor really are good supporters of the industry. They know the tax burden that we're under right now. So we just keep an eye on that. Another thing that's going to come up are electricity rates. We had a big uproar to do with one of the state's largest utilities looking to impose on industry and residents, 25% increase in your electric bills, or on the industrial side, which is where our concern is, a 33% increase in your electric bills. A lot of that is due to this rapid transition, in my opinion, going too fast to renewables instead of reliables. And there's a cost associated with that. So the legislature is going to be looking at that too, and we'll be very interested to see what they do on that. And on other things, we just kind of pay attention. Again, it is a budget session. We'll make sure, to try to ensure that the agencies at the state level that we work with, our Department of Environmental Quality, the School of Energy Resources at the University of Wyoming, get the funding they need to do the job that they need to do. And that's sort of what we'll be looking at this year. And there'll be some surprises, I'm sure, and we'll be ready for that. But that's kind of where we're gonna start the session out.
I like your description of reliable over renewable. Yeah. Very nice. I think that we need to hear more of that around the country.
Well, we try. We scream it from the rooftops, and it's a difficult message to get out right now when you don't control any of the levers of power in Washington, D.C., and that's where a lot of the pressure comes from. That's where most of the pressure comes from.
Yeah, understood. Very valid point. Let's take a look at the coal industry, if you could. Just for people that don't know, obviously it's a huge industry. You're the biggest coal provider in the nation. Talk about the number of jobs that provides in the state of Wyoming, and what other and how the industry kind of plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are the nation's largest coal producer. We produce roughly around 250 million tons of coal a year. That's down from a high from 15 years ago of about 460 million tons. So we're about where half where we are in production is where we were, during the heydays of Wyoming coal. The industry generates significant tax revenue for the state of Wyoming, about $500 million worth. And of course, that goes into the state coffers to fund schools, to fund roads and highways, to go to counties and towns. So it's a tremendous revenue source for the state of Wyoming. And the industry right now in Wyoming is about 5,000 direct jobs, but for each of those jobs, they support probably another 2 in the service and supply sector. Those companies that are providing the trucks and the equipment, the lubricants, and all the other services that go into running a mine, because a mine is just not going out and turning earth. There's a lot involved in it, so it's a significant economic driver for the state of Wyoming. And it's a difficult time for the industry right now. Obviously, our coal is used as for it's thermal coal for electricity generation. And again, with some of the things that you're seeing play out in the American energy sector, with the drive to get away from fossil fuels and replace them with wind and solar, which is not very smart in my opinion. But there's a lot of pressure on the industry, and the good news is that people have been writing our obituary for the coal industry for a decade, and we're still around. We're still strong. Prices are good right now, and the demand is still there. And we're very tied to the oil and gas, to natural gas, and the price of natural gas. And natural gas is fairly low right now. When natural gas is about $3, that's when our coal is very competitive. And you look back just as short term back, about 15 or 16 months ago, when natural gas spiked up to about $10, $9. That's when coal is very appealing. And we couldn't meet the demand. We had rail issues, and we just couldn't get enough coal out of Wyoming to get to the plants that need it. Consequently, the customer pays more in their electric bills. But the demand is still there. It's going to shrink as utilities close their coal-fired plants, which is kind of the path that we're on right now, unless we can solve some problems of carbon dioxide and carbon capture, which we're working at the state of Wyoming is working very hard to look to address those issues and keep our coal resource viable. But the industry is, like I say, it's a difficult situation to be in. The market is challenging, but the industry is strong, and we're going to be here for a long time.
So Travis, let me ask you about something. Let's go off the grid for a second and head down to Asia. What is going on with China, with them opening coal-fired power plants? What do you know?
I don't want to praise our strategic competitors, but they're doing it right. The country of China realizes they want what we have in the United States. What we have gotten, the lifestyle that we've developed, the quality of life that we've developed for our citizens, it's all because of coal and affordable, cheap power. And you get affordable, cheap power from your abundant resources, and coal is abundant. It's relatively affordable, and and it's reliable. And the Chinese have got the right idea, and it's not only the Chinese, it's the Indians. It's other places in the third world that want what the United States has, and they're going to do what they have to do to get it. And and the frustrating thing about it is, they're looking at technology too, to look for ways to burn coal more efficiently, to burn it cleaner. And they're doing it. We're pretty much, we've said we're done with that in the United States, and that's a kind of a shame. And not kind of a shame, it is a shame, because that's the country was built on coal. We can use coal cleaner and more efficient than anywhere else in the world. We should be doing it, and it's just this path that we're on right now. We're going to learn some hard lessons, just like the Europeans did, within the last few years. So it's frustrating, but the real frustrating thing, Michael, is that we have companies or countries on the Pacific Rim that want our coal, to burn our coal because of the quality of our coal. We field calls from Vietnam, we field calls from Korea, from the Japanese, that want Wyoming coal, and unfortunately, due to the politics of the United States, we can't get it to them, and they think we're insane. They want to buy our coal, we want to sell it to them, but we can't get it to them, and they think we're crazy, and they're right.
Are laws against shipping coal overseas? What I don't know the status of that.
In order for us to ship our coal overseas economically, we would have to take it through ports in either Washington or Oregon, the heart of the environmental movement in the United States. And in order to do it and ship the quantities that our friends in the Far East would want, we would need to expand port capacity in those states. At one point in time, about 10 years ago, there were 4 major port expansion projects on the table. All of those have been snuffed out by local politics in Oregon and Washington. And right now, I would not say that the door is closed on shipping coal exports out through the Pacific Northwest, but it's pretty much closed, and it's very frustrating.
Mm-hmm. Our company needs an energy wake-up call, if you will.
We do.
Let's talk about Trona if we can, Travis. And I'd be quite frank, I don't know anything about it, so you're gonna have to start from ground level.
Yep, I'm happy to do that, and I'll start off with its. You use Trona every day. Trona is a rock, a very unique global deposit to Wyoming. There's nothing like it anywhere in the world. And what Trona is it is a water soluble rock, and we mine it underground in southwest Wyoming. And you bring it to the top, and you process it into natural soda ash. And what natural soda ash is, basically, it's baking soda. So you're going to use it in your food products. It's used in chemicals. It's used in detergents, and probably the most it's used in. It's going to be used in lithium batteries when we start electrifying things. But mostly it's a key component in glass, pane glass on buildings and residents, and it's used in auto glass. And it's used all over. It's the state of Wyoming's #1 international export. We export about 50% of the Trona that we produce into natural soda ash, and we compete very fiercely with Chinese synthetic soda ash. And so, that's what we do. Like I say, you use it in everything, stuff that you use every day. And because of looking forward at development in the third world, in South America, which is where a lot of our product goes, I go back, they want what we want. They're building buildings, they're building homes, they're building cars. And that component for the glass for those products is very much in demand. So we've got a strong market there for Wyoming soda ash, to the point to where our 4 operations that mine the Trona underground are expanding. We've got new companies coming in that will be mining, solution mining, the resource, which is basically pumping a solution down into the ground, dissolving the mineral and pumping it up. Those are coming, and these are billion-dollar projects for the state of Wyoming, and you're looking at about 500 more jobs down the horizon. So it's a real jewel in our mining crown, our soda ash industry, and it's strong, and the outlook is very, very good for that for the near term.
Good to hear. A little birdie just flew by and told me that I should ask you something about what the Governor Gordon, said at Harvard most recently on that had appeared on 60 Minutes. Are
Well,
you up to speed on that?
yeah, I think the governor said it's what his policy has been from really day one. He supports an all of the above energy policy in Wyoming, and I think that's fine. Personally, I support an all that works policy. We know very well that wind and solar don't work all the time, so it's a little frustrating on that front. But it's okay. And I think one of the things that's generated a lot of talk in the state of Wyoming recently is this idea of carbon capture. And I want to make clear, and the governor has been very supportive of carbon capture efforts. We, as an industry, really strongly support carbon capture for emissions. That's where our interest is in it. Whether it's power plant emissions or industrial use for emissions, to where you can retrofit plants and solve the carbon dioxide problem. Understanding that that's where the politics have taken us. Whatever you think about carbon dioxide or not, that's what we've got to do. So we're supportive of those efforts. Where we kind of hedge a little bit are these other efforts with carbon capture. It's specifically direct air capture, where you have these wild projects and these wild ideas where you can just kind of set up a vacuum to vacuum the air and power it with solar and wind in the state of Wyoming. Yeah, I don't think that stuff's going to fly. But in general, I think the governor and he's been very clear on his policy from the time he got into office, and he's a good supporter of the industry of our mining industry, of our coal industry. He's been there when we've needed him there, and he understands that you cannot run this country on wind and solar, that you need fossil fuels, that you need your natural gas, and that you need your coal. So you're never going to make anybody happy, but I wasn't too. My feathers didn't get too ruffled about the Harvard speech.
Right. So let's talk about the Wyoming Mining Association, what you do and what you do to educate the youth of Wyoming.
So, I guess what you could say that we do, we're the industry's advocate, and a lot of our work is done with legislators, with elected officials, both in the state. We have a very good working relationship with our congressional delegation. And again, the bulk of our work is done on the regulatory side, to make sure we can, have a regulatory environment to where we can produce and flourish and provide that revenue and jobs to the state of Wyoming. It's an easier lift in the state. We have a good working relationship with our state regulators at the Wyoming Department of Environmental Quality. But the pressure comes from the federal side, and right now, that's very, very difficult. We work with legislators a lot, and try to educate them on the importance of the industry to Wyoming. And a lot of our outreach takes place after an election year. You're reaching out to new legislators and letting them know who we are and what we do, and the value of the industry. And then on the education front, a lot of our education efforts right now are focused on working with schools and community colleges, the University of Wyoming, with career and technical training. We have a significant challenge filling just those jobs that you need, whether it's an electrician, a pipe fitter, a plumber, the technical training that you need to run a mine. And one of the things that the issues that is really come forefront is industrial arts teachers, and educating that next generation of teachers at the high school level that are going to teach kids electronics, that are to be an electrician, to woodwork, to use tools. And so that's where a lot of our education efforts are focused right now. But we do try to get into the schools once in a while and talk to school kids and let them know what mining is, and that there are jobs, and there are gonna be a lot more jobs coming down the line here in the near future, and we're gonna need folks to fill those jobs. And they're good jobs, they're good career jobs, good benefits. And I subscribe to the theory that not every kid is meant for college. and you can have a very good career in the mining industry. In fact, you can come out of Campbell County High School with your high school diploma and go to work for one of the mines, and they will train you, and you automatically join the middle class. And they're very good paying jobs. And one of the things that we find is the location. It's hard to get people to come to live to Wyoming, as we were talking a little bit before we got on. The weather's tough here. We're isolated. There's a lot of space to cover. You work in Casper, you go out to a uranium site. That's an hour out, an hour back every day. And it's tough, and it's tough to find employees. But that's another issue that we really focus on is trying to build that future workforce.
So if somebody wanted to, that's watching this, that's not in Wyoming, and they wanted to find out about jobs in the Wyoming mining industry, where would you suggest they go?
You can always just give us a call. You can go to our website at www.wyomingmining.org. We've got some information up there, and give us a call, and we can direct you to where people are hiring. And and again, we just don't represent the mining companies. Of our mining companies, we've got about 30 of those. But we also represent, with our associate member group, almost 100 companies that provide those services and supplies to the mines, and they're looking for people as well. So, that's what I would say to someone watching. If you're interested in the industry, go to our website, give us a call, and we can get you some information.
All right. And Travis, I know you grew up in Wyoming, so you've been there, I would imagine, most of your life, if not all of your life. What do you like most about living in the Cowboy State?
I'll backtrack a little bit. So I was born in Sheridan, Wyoming. I grew up in Laramie, Wyoming, and then I spent about 5 or 6 years out in Washington, D.C. as a younger man. Got back to Wyoming as quick as I could. And when you ask what I like about Wyoming most, you got to have a little elbow room. And out here, we've got our space. You've got room to breathe. You got room to move around. The weather's tough, but I like it. We have nice summers and brutal winters that last about 10 months. But it's the elbow room, and it's the freedom to move around, and you can see the stars at night and breathe the air and see the mountains, and it's a great place to be.
Space and freedom, two of my favorite words. Travis, thank you so much for your time.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for the invite, and glad to do it.
Okay, great. So if people want to find out more, just go to wyliberty.org, wyliberty.org, and sign up for our newsletter. Thanks again, Travis.
Thank you.